Hello everyone, welcome to today's session, Agility in Project Management, Adapting for Success. I'm Shraddha, your host for today, and I'm really glad that you chose to spend this time with us. Now, we all know that project management is not what it used to be, right? With tighter deadlines, changing priorities, and new tech everywhere. It's not enough to just deliver anymore. You have got to be able to adapt and lead. So that's what we are gonna learn about in this today's webinar. By the end of the session, we will have an actual takeaways you can start applying right away. And stay till the end because we have kept something special for those of you who thinking seriously about the next career move. So I'll share more on that later on. So for those of you who are new here, I want to introduce to Knowlathon. Knowlathon is a global training provider helping professionals like you become certified, skilled, and career ready with top accreditations in our hand. So we have trained 50,000 plus learners across the world with certifications like PMP, ITL, Prince2, Agile, ISO, and many more. So, all right, without doing a further delay, let's move to why we are all really here. So, let me introduce Mr. Vishal Kulkarni, who is our trainer for today, with 19 plus years experience in IT and 8 plus years coaching agile teams at the top global enterprises. He has helped teams move from chaos to clarity, and today he's going to show you exactly how agility fits into the real world project management. Vishal sir, over to you.
Okay. Uh, Thank you very much for a great introduction. And we will quickly go ahead and run through some of the areas in terms of the new ways what we are looking in terms of doing the project management. And subsequently, a lot of organizations, especially the product-based organizations, they are getting benefited out of that. It is all about we having some of the set of challenges in terms of the waterfall ways of doing the project management, and typically that has been proven for some of the projects wherein we have had a pretty good idea on the set of requirements, on the needs of the customer. But today's world, the way we could see a dynamic trends, but it could be the needs of the customers or possibly you look at the technology upgradation. And subsequently, you know, the organizations, they are looking at the future, or they are having a futuristic view in terms of what could be the better solutions, right? Which could be needed. And suddenly, when you are dealing with this kind of moving targets, because not every time your customers are having pretty good idea in terms of what they're expecting out of the systems. So, will the traditional way of doing the software development will really work? And the answer to that question is no. But it doesn't mean the traditional way of doing the software development is not good, and pretty much we should blame to the traditional ways in certain circumstances, in certain ideologies, wherein the traditional, even traditional ways of doing the software development works very well, wherein we have pretty much good clarity in terms of the requirements, and similar kind of implementations have been executed by the teams in the past. And especially when it comes to, you deploying the products as is, which we call it as a vanilla product, right? If you have to deploy those solutions into the production environment for your customers, then probably if you bring in agility over there, predominantly you are actually, challenging, or probably you're creating the challenges to your projects. Your traditional way works very well over there. But considering the aspect, right, wherein we look at it in terms of the current circumstances, and subsequently, the technology adaptation which needs to be taken into consideration, right? The agile ways is next uh, generation which we are looking at in terms of developing the next generation product for our customers' consumption purpose. Certainly, you know, it makes a lot of sense in terms of we understanding the overall one aspect that famous book by Mick Kirsten, wherein he says that none of the organization is working on the projects, rather they're actually developing the products for their customers. And with that particular reference of Mick Kirsten, project to product, right? I welcome you all to understand what agility is all about and how does it really get reflected, right, in the project management aspect of it. And as part of this particular agenda, right, this quick 35 minutes, 40 minutes kind of discussion, right, I'm just going to put forward some of my thought process, which reflects some minute experience which I have earned subsequently over the period of time, last 20, 24 years, what I've spent in the industry. And I have seen the way it really works, and at certain cases, it really doesn't work at all, right? So we'll start looking at what project is all about, what project management is all about, what are the common challenges in the traditional ways of doing the project management, right? And then what are the parameters in which we are taking the agility into the project management context of it? Some of the key aspects which we should take into consideration, and typically the most common, the simplest framework in the world, right? But very difficult to master, the Scrum framework. I'll quickly give you a snippet of that, and subsequently we'll look at what is next, right? What is beyond Scrum, right? How do we achieve the enterprise agility? Now, at any point in time, if anybody asks you a question stating that, okay, what project is all about, your project is a temporary endeavor, wherein which has got a specific objective to be achieved for your customers and subsequently for your organization, wherein you complete those set of activities and achieve the objective for your stakeholders, which include your customer, right, within a stipulated time frame, right, which has got a definite start date and end date. And that is what we understand when we talk about project as a definition. There are a lot of organizations, especially I'm referring to the PMI, uh, Project Management Institute, wherein they have indicated the project management framework, wherein they recommend the three ways of executing the project. Maybe a typical uh, predictive, adaptive, and hybrid ways. Now, predictive is all about traditional, adaptive is all about your agile, and hybrid is the combination of your predictive and adaptive, right? And they are very specific in terms of the overall 49 processes which we do have, right? Which exists in which the processes which we follow as part of our project management set of activities. There are certain processes which will get reflected as at every moment of time, right? It needs update like your stakeholders, your risk management, or probably your resource management aspect of it, right? Communication management is another process area, right, which gets reflected throughout your project, right? And if you look at we managing all those processes, right? We're taking a systematic approach to planning, organizing, and managing the resources to achieve a specific objective for our customers within certain constraints. And typically, the constraints could be your cost, schedule, and pretty much your time aspect of it. And typically, when you talk about these constraints, in good old days, quality was also considered to be a constraint, but subsequently, quality is considered to be the must-have, right? When it comes to the products and services what we are developing, that has become a mandate. And subsequently, over the period of time, we have started taking into consideration the shift left approach for the quality, as well as now in current cases, we are talking about security as well as one of the parameter under the quality, which is getting reflected as a shift left approach. Now, subsequently, when we talk about coming back to our topic, right, wherein we talk about the project management as a fundamental, right, it certainly, completely based on certain set of principles, procedures. There are policies which has been established, right? which certainly helps the organizations, the teams to, meet all the requirements, right? Wherein they deliver the right set of expectations to their customers, their stakeholders, right? Within a budget, on time, right? But is this what really qualifies uh, for the customer satisfaction? And answer to that question is no, right? Subsequently, the overall trend, what we have seen substantially over the period of time, the projects which is getting executed across the organization, some of the common challenges wherein we are seeing it as, the scope creep. And certainly it is always going to be the case because when we start with dealing with the projects, right? It is not necessary that your customers are pretty clear what they're expecting out of the systems. And pretty much our focus was on developing the systems for the users and the amount of time what it takes, right, in terms of from the initiation, opportunity, and demand to the value proposition aspect of it. By the time the products have been delivered, the overall requirements, the expectations of the customers are subject to change because market is changing, customer requirements are changing, technology is changing. And it is very natural that your customers are going to put forward some additional set of requirements, which leads to the the changes into the design, the changes into the overall the set of requirements, the code which has been created, and subsequently it takes a good amount of time in terms of reverting back into the overall design, making the changes and looking at the impacted areas. Pretty much that leads to a cost overruns, that leads to a delays, that leads to a difficulty in delivering the right set of expectations, which has been agreed upon as part of your contract, right, with the customer. Certainly, communication is the key when it comes to the project activities because at the end of the day, it's a group of people, right, who are working together to achieve a common objective. But certainly, the silos, what has been introduced substantially over the period of time, as we take a hierarchical approach within the industry, and there is nothing wrong, right, in terms of we setting up the hierarchies within the organization, and that is needed. But unknowingly, somewhere, those role specific or team specific or department specific silos which has been created, that is not allowing the team members to communicate in a better and you know very interactive manner with each other, and subsequently the expected output has not been achieved. There are lots of conflicts, right? There are a lot, and that is leading to the overall project failures. We are not looking at the entire system in one go because our focus, we are more focused on the components, and pretty much we are always, as part of our traditional ways, we are always reflected on developing the systems, but that systems will be used by the users, so we are losing that particular important factor that we need to develop the systems for the users. We are not developing we are actually should not be staying focused on the developing the systems, rather than we should be taking into consideration the user set of requirements, right? From the systems perspective, and that is how we should be developing the products. Definitely, the limited budgets, the constraints, the kind of contracting agreements what we are having, right? Uh, that is somewhere leading to a challenges wherein wherein we are not having subsequent controls in place, and we end up having a lot of unexpected expenses. We are having a lot of changes into the project because customer thought process has changed, or possibly they could sense the different needs what they're expecting out of the systems. That leads to a lot of delays, right? Risk management is yet again wherein we follow it as a process, right? Uh, we have the whole team approach, right? Wherein all the roles which has been required, right? They are part of the project from day one till the last day. Definitely, there is a cost which we need to bear. Probably that may lead to losses into the project. Absolutely, accountability. Everyone is not having the respect for each of the role. They're not having clarity in terms of what they are responsible for, what is going to be their role, right? and absence of skills, absence of the capabilities, that is also leading to a problem. And subsequently, uh, majorly the projects are getting failed. What is needed as we move on, right? What is really needed in the industry is like we're taking a focus of not staying, looking at the entire system, right? All set of requirements as one go. We need a clarity in terms of what are the needs and demands of the customer, what problem statements they are articulating, why they are talking about the same set of requirements, and subsequently what how that particular set of requirements is going to address their their problems, what they're facing now. The new ways in terms of we bringing agility into the project management is like, we allowing our teams to collaborate not only with the customers, it is all about we taking them out of the silos, allowing them to, work together. Subsequently, we are we are trying to identify and, have a better communication mechanism across all the stakeholders, which includes your customers, wherein, it stays focused in terms of having, the value co-creation kind of a perspective, wherein it's not only, your customers they are providing the feedback, but in return, even your teams, they are allowed to make suggestions to your customers. Maybe it could be on the technology aspect of it. And when we have this kind of a collaboration, when we have a flexibility in the plans, when we have a better mechanism in terms of the communication, when we are doing the prioritization at every point in time, when we are evaluating the risks at every circumstances, we are taking a iterative and incremental approach, which really helps the teams to be competent, or probably to reflect on the self-organizing and cross-functional capabilities. And subsequently, that is the need of the time. And if you look at some of the frameworks like Scrum and Kanban, they actually give you a structured approach to this adaptive, or probably, iterative and incremental way of doing the software development. And objective here is not to only do the iterative and incremental ways of doing the software development, continuous improvement, or, improve relentlessly, right? That is yet another focus in terms of teams. They are doing the retrospectives. Teams, they are making sure that they are finding out, as a team, what really went well for them, what needs to be, course corrected, and subsequently what are the actions, wherein they can take into consideration those improvement items, and subsequently, they evaluate on that, those improvement actions, whether they were able to achieve the output, yes or no, and how those improvements are really enabling them, or how that improvements is really bringing the flexibility, wherein it makes their life easy, as well as, enable them to deliver the expected value out of your project to your end customers. And that's the placeholder, right? Wherein, like I said, continuous improvement, collaboration, adaptability, right? Wherein we are looking at, people, they have a, kind of a myth in their mind in terms of, agile means no planning, right? To be very honest with you, your agile reflects on 5 levels of planning, which starts with your product visioning, product roadmap, your release plan, your subsequent, you plan for your sprints or iteration, and subsequently the fifth level of plan is your daily scrum meetings or daily stand-up meetings, which actually allows each one of the development team member to talk about the plans what they have executed yesterday, the plans what they're going to execute today, and probably any impediments what they probably would have in terms of executing their plans. And it's all about, they're reflecting on the self-organizing capability, which is just like, they create their own plans. They don't need anybody to tell them what needs to be done next. They are pretty much focused since they are creating their own plans. Pretty much it reflects, they're taking the complete accountability and responsibility of executing those plans. They show their commitment. right? To execute that plan and substantially they reflect on delivering the right set of expectations, right, to the stakeholders within the organization and outside the organization. They are evaluating the progress subsequently over the period of time, and definitely they are trusting and believing in improvising consistently, continuously, which definitely reflects in uh, the change in the culture of the organization. When I talk about a change in the culture of the organization, I'm a strong believer of one statement by Peter Drucker, where he says that, okay, your strategy eats your, or your culture eats the strategy for the breakfast, right? And if you have a toxic culture, right, if you have a rule-oriented, power-oriented, or bureaucracy in the cultural aspect of it, definitely your organization strategy is going to be on toss at every point in time. What is needed is a performance-oriented culture within the organization. And if you have the performance-oriented culture, definitely we're learning from our mistakes. We are allowed to make the mistakes. We're learning out of that. We don't repeat those mistakes. And subsequently, we are not only, it's not only us who is learning out of it, it is substantially we are pretty much making everyone aware of those mistakes and subsequently, allow others to learn from our failures. And that's the cultural aspect which we are reflecting, right, as part of our, day-to-day operations on our projects. Definitely, iterative and incremental is like we are doing the appropriate prioritization wherein we are breaking the projects into the smaller, manageable cycle sprints. And subsequently, we are collaborating with our stakeholders, right? Wherein we are asking the subsequent feedback from them on the solutions what we have developed for them, right? And in return, we are further showing the flexibility to our customers, wherein if at all they are expecting something else, then our flexibility or flexible plans actually allows us to accommodate those changes if they are of the highest priority, right? We accommodate those changes into our project plan and subsequently, we show our commitment in terms of delivering the right set of value for our customers. Pretty much, these are the key aspects what we really reflect on it. And those 17 people, right, who were really uh, practicing the different mechanism, right, of doing the project management, which is completely deviating from the traditional ways of doing the project management. And they were able to see the success. Their customers were happy. And all the 17 people, right, in year 2001, from February 11 to 13th, right, they came together and they started talking about what deviations they do have, how they are deviating from the traditional ways of doing the software development. And subsequently, they thought that it would be a wonderful idea, right? In terms of we introducing this mechanism to the entire world because they were getting a lot of benefits, and subsequently they wanted the other organizations, other teams, or the teams of the organizations to get complete benefit out of the deviations what they were experiencing. They introduced this particular term as agile, and that was introduced to the world right in year 2001. And agile is a broader term, right? It's umbrella term which has been supported by uh, the different set of frameworks under this particular umbrella. But it could be Kanban, but it could be Scrum, but it could be you know uh, your extreme programming, right? But it could be scaled agile framework. In recent past, we have, the scaling Scrum kind of frameworks, which is really taking a good pace in the market. And subsequently, there are a lot of organizations, top-notch organizations who have already, undergoing the transformation wherein they are reflecting on the scaled agile framework, which is like, you're scaling Scrum, right? But this particular agility, right, as a mindset, as a philosophy, like I said, was introduced to the world way back in 2001, and subsequently that was introduced. This mindset, this philosophy was introduced to the world in in the format of values and four values and 12 principles. And we understanding those values, we understanding those principles, and subsequently, we applying those values and principles, right, to our day-to-day activities, to our professional life, will certainly, bring in a change in the culture. It will introduce a new ways of working. And the reason I'm making this particular statement is pretty much, please don't mind, but the common sense what we should have in terms of the way we should be operating on our projects, right? We humans, we have left our common sense way back, right? We are always looking ahead, but we are deviating from our own common senses, the basic rules. And your agility is really sticking to those rules. It is allowing us to stick to those rules and subsequently, reflect into our day-to-day set of activities. And as an outcome, right, you could see the presence of the framework, right, like Scrum, which was, uh, well before the Agile was introduced to the world. It was present, right? 1986, wherein, couple of individuals, they started working on they took a new approach in terms of doing the product development. And in 1993, Mr. Sutherland, and he introduced the first Scrum team, right? And subsequently, over the period of time, right, Ken Schuber and Jeff Sutherland introduced a Scrum guide, which is you know which has been made available, right? And 2010, wherein they introduced the Scrum Guide, right? And subsequently making people aware that what this framework is all about. And subsequently, this framework typically indicates, right, three roles, like Scrum Master, Product Owner, the development team, four events like sprint planning, your daily stand-up meetings, sprint review, and sprint retrospective, and just three artifacts, right? Wherein they just talk about, the product backlog, sprint backlog, and potentially shippable product increment. And if you look at the combination of this rules, events, and artifacts, right? You can still go ahead and execute your projects with having the appropriate prioritization mechanism. And subsequently, substantially over the period of time, we realized the fact that there is a world beyond Scrum, right? Because not every organization deals with such a small kind of a projects, which probably can be developed, can be released by 5 to 8 people. What if we need more, when we are dealing with the large scale products or projects, wherein we are developing huge products? What if we need more than 100 people? Then suddenly we need to, have or establish multiple Scrum teams. But how should we have the alignment between those teams? What should be their behavioral aspect? How they should be conducting the planning? How they should be executing their iterations? What is a mechanism in terms of they staying synchronized? What kind of a cadence they should follow it, right? And subsequently, there is a need, yeah, wherein we look at beyond Scrum. And Scrum.org was kind enough in terms of introducing a Nexus framework. But subsequently, if you want to achieve agility at the enterprise level, right, what what could be the ways? And that is where, right, in 2011, Lynn Diffingwell, he coined a term called as scaled agile framework, right, which allows organizations to, with the help of different configurations, right, of the framework, uh, he was able to set up that particular context, right, wherein it enables the people to adopt the agility at the enterprise level. And subsequently, look at better benefits what can be achieved as part of, their reflecting, they're planning better, they're reflecting on the continuous improvement, they're planning as a group, right? We're 100, 125 people, right? They come together, they plan for the things for next 8 to 10 weeks of time frame. And yet, with the help of like DevOps capability, they're following the practices like continuous integration, continuous exploration, continuous integration, and continuous deployment. They are actually enabling the organization to develop the next generation projects, next generation products, services, and subsequently this particular framework enabling them to, reflect on grabbing the, greater market share. Wherein they are adopting the new technology platforms, they are reflecting on the emerging needs of the customers, and they are expecting, in terms of better budgeting, better planning, right? And subsequently, better having the reflection of the right skills to be part of the agile teams. And that is where, right, it brings in the holistic approach. It is empowering the employees. It is subsequently, cultivating a continuous learning culture, right? And it is staying still reflected on, the smaller increments to be deployed. And subsequently, it is getting integrated at regular time intervals. It is allowing teams to avoid the surprises which may pop up towards the end of the project. And, more proactive enablement, right? With the help of, the the appropriate applicable agile processes with the different operating models with different budgeting ways, right? Different scheduling options, which what it is offering subsequently is really enabling them to achieve the greater success for the organizations while they are working on new product development subsequently over the period of time, right? With given said, that's a pretty much perspective which I wanted to put in front of you, right? As part of the reflection of the agility into the project management. I'm opening the floor if at all you have any specific questions which you want to clarify or discuss with me. Uh, Pretty much over to you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Uh, you attendees, you can ask your questions in the Q&A box. This is your chance to clear your doubts and get answers from the expert. Put your questions in the Q&A box and sir will answer to them one by one. Okay, we got a question, sir.
Yep.
What is the difference between PSM and PSPO?
PSM is both the offerings are from the scrum.org. Pretty much your PSM is more both the certifications are very specific to the roles, right? PSM is more inclined towards the Scrum Master. PSPO is more inclined towards another Scrum role, right? Which is your product owner. And if you look at your product owner is pretty much a face of the customer for your IT teams, right? Where your Scrum Master is pretty much the owner of the framework, right? Having the right set of reflection and the right set of practices which he enables team to follow during the while they're following the Scrum, right? So your PSM will teach you the all the aspects of the Scrum. How does it work? What could be the set of roles? What could be the recommendations which they should take into consideration? PSPO is very specific to the product owner role, where it talks about how what is a specific role of product owner, and subsequently what are his expertise, what are his areas, right, which he should stay focused on, and subsequently, enable the team in terms of delivering the value to our stakeholders. So that's the difference.
I hope you got the answer to your question. Any more questions? Anyone else? We're waiting for your questions. We'll wait for 2-3 more minutes for your questions and then we will move ahead with the special offer that I was talking about at the start. So drop your questions. Okay, we got one more question. What is the biggest difference between a project manager and a product manager and a project manager in your experience?
Okay. Your project manager and a product manager, right? Your project manager has got a very specific lookout in terms of the time-bound activities, which he will show his commitment, wherein he'll work with the team, right, and get the solutions to be developed and delivered to the end customer, right? The moment he's done with those set of activities, right, when team delivers a value, he will be moving out of the focus. But if you look at the product manager, right, your product manager is, has got a bigger view, right? I would call it as a Falcon's view, right? He's looking at it in terms of the entire product, right, with regards to where are the product gaps. Typically, he's more focused on developing the next generation for solutions wherein he are trusting and believing and getting the inputs from different channels, right? Could be your market research or possibly the customer satisfaction index, which has been one of the important metrics wherein it thinks about what really makes the product better, and subsequently set of product feature which needs to be implemented, right? He creates the overall roadmap in terms of having the bigger picture in front of him, wherein substantially over the next 1 or 2 years time frame, right? Which features will really make our product super rich, and subsequently we grab more market share, and to implement those features, right? The limited time frame what he has, right? He your project manager will come into picture and he'll implement those features, right, with the help of teams, right? So that is a superficial difference what you can get to see between the project manager and a product manager, wherein the scope
Uh,
of project manager is going to be time specific, but it's going to be a bigger view when it comes to the product manager.
I hope your doubt is clear. We have two more questions.
Okay.
Tushar is asking, should we select PMI ACP or SAFe from Scrum?
Okay, it depends on shall we select PMI ACP or SAFE? Which certification?
SAFe from Scrum. That was another question is, should we select PMI ACP or Scaled Agile Certificate from Scrum Alliance?
Okay, let me clarify one thing. Your SAFE certification is not offered by Scrum Alliance, right? Scrum Alliance and SAFE, these are two different organizations, right? Your Scrum Alliance offers certificates like CSM, Advanced CSM, or probably CSPO, right? Yes, Safe is offering the Safe has different offerings. It starts with leading Safe, or probably we call it as you know pretty much leading Safe is a naming convention, right? Wherein we learn more about the framework and subsequently look at the entire framework. There are somewhere around 10 odd offerings what we do have on the scaled agile framework, right? But it could be your safe product owner, product manager. You have safe, product development, agile product development. Subsequently, Scrum Master, safe, advanced Scrum Masters, one and so forth, right? So these two terminologies, these two areas are different, right? Different organizations, but pretty much the focus is common in terms of making people understand what agility is all about. Coming back to your question, what you should select, it depends to your context, right? What role you are playing in the organization. Are you still looking out for advancement in your career, right? Pretty much your scaled agile framework is an next generation, what you can stay focused on. If you're typically reflecting on the, agility and you're still going to stay linked with the project manager role within the organization, then PMICP will suffice the purpose. Anyways, you know, your your PMI will give you more better perspective in terms of the project management using Agile. Your scaled Agile framework will keep you more focused in terms of how we should execute the project, right? Especially better alignment and having the better product development aspect, right? If that is the case, then scaled Agile framework would be a better choice. It depends on your context, to be very honest.
I hope your doubts are clear, Tushar. Anyone else have any questions? You can put the questions in the Q&A box. I'll move ahead with the special reward or special offer for you guys. Firstly, before moving ahead, I want to thank Vishal sir for breaking the topic into real practical insights and explaining details as well as answering to the questions clearly. Now, here is the offer. If you book your PMP training with us before 14 June, you'll get an 1 year free. I can see Abhishek is raising hand. Uh, if you have any questions, you can put it in the Q&A box. Okay, so the offer is you will get 1 year PMI membership, which is worth around 10,500 plus taxes. That's totally for free if you book a PMP certification course with a PMP training with us. So what is the benefit of the 1 year PMI membership? This will save you on your PMP exam. If you are taking the PMP exam voucher, you can save there. Then you get official PMI resources, including the PMBOK guide. Then you will join the global project management community where you can connect with the managers all over the world and grow in your career. So this offer is only for attendees of this webinar. So I'm sharing the link in the Q&A box. You can visit the link and fill the form to get more details. Our expert advisors will contact you. Also, you can. Okay, Vishal sir, we have one more question. We will take it once I explain this offer.
Okay.
So you can visit the link and check for the details. Otherwise, you can contact us through the following details I am sharing in the Q&A box, and you'll get all the details to the offer. But specifically, this offer will end on 14 June. So act fast. And let's take the question now. So the question is, can we use project management managers in our company very frequently? I don't get the question.
Can we use project managers?
Project management managers in our company very frequently.
Project management managers. I don't see any this kind of role which exists in the organization. It could be a project manager or it could be a product manager. Yes, to answer your question, if that is a question which you are trying to ask, yes, there is a lot of possibility that you may have your project manager and product manager both the roles existing in the organization. Especially you can see this kind of a construct product-based organizations, right? Especially organizations who are developing and delivering the products to the to the customers. You can very well go ahead and see that. But there is no role called as a project management manager. Not I am aware of. Maybe you have any clarity on that? Maybe you can put it in the
Yes,
chat.
you can put, yes, you can put it in the Q&A box. Okay. What is PMP exam?
What is PMP exam?
Yes.
Okay. So if you look at PMP is the current edition, what you will be referring as part of your new learnings from PMI is seventh edition, right? Which gives you a complete insight and it is opening up a different dimension, right? Wherein you can execute the project and using the three approaches, adaptive, predictive, and hybrid. And that gives you a complete bigger picture, right? With extensive details provided for each of the processes and the focus areas, right? It gives you a complete picture in terms of how a project manager should start or kick off the projects, and subsequently what all processes he should consistently stay focused on, and towards the end of the project what are the processes which he needs to take into consideration. So in all, 49 processes spread across 10 knowledge areas, 5 process groups, and typical, the approach of predictive or adaptive as well as hybrid, how those, approaches are taking those 49 processes into consideration, right? That's the, bigger kind of a picture what it creates for you, right? And that's very important. So that is a PMP certification is all about. It is extensive, it is lengthy, but trust me, it develops, it challenges all your skills, all your understanding on the project management, and subsequently it helps you to be a better project manager within your own organization.
Abhishek, I hope you got the answer to your question. We have some time left, so you can ask more questions. Anyone else have any doubts? Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Abhishek.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions? You can put it in the Q&A box. Okay. I'm sharing the link to the offer again in the Q&A box. You can check it out. I hope there are no more questions, so we'll move ahead. Before signing off, uh, I want you to follow Knowlathon on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube if you want updates on more webinars, resources, and career building content, which we usually post on our social platforms. So I have also attached the links to those in the Q&A box. I'm sharing it again. And thank you again, all of us, for joining us. Go apply what you learned today in your job roles, in your day-to-day life. And we hope to see you again. Thank you so much, Vishal sir, for the insightful session. Thank you all.